All right. Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to be diving in today. We're going to be talking all things AI, how AI is disrupting the marketing playbook. To do that, we brought on Brandon Redlinger. Brandon's currently a fractional marketing leader. He's got a cool community called The Forge. Brandon, thanks for joining. How the heck are you?
Good. Can't complain. Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, I've really been diving into this AI stuff for marketers. So yeah, excited to chat today.
Oh my goodness, you guys. I don't even know Brandon, but I've been stalking him. And some of the stuff he's talking about, I just think he takes it to the next level. So I'm excited to dive in. But Brandon, before we do that, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit about The Forge. What's been going on lately?
Yeah, for sure. So as I said, currently I'm a fractional marketing leader, run marketing for a few SaaS companies right now. But previously I was at Engageo and Demand Base and Chili Piper, some household names in the B2B sales and marketing space. But yeah, we decided to go fractional. And one of the things I also do on the side, which you mentioned, is I run a community for marketing leaders called The Forge. It's something that I've teamed up with JK Sparks, who's the head of product marketing at Circle.
That's
and
right.
We run the community on Circle, of course, obviously, right? Couldn't be using anything else. But yeah, we started
It's a good product, though. It's a good product.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of cool because like I'll be doing something and be like, hey, it'd be really cool if Circle like had this ability. And I'm like, yo, JK, like put this in as a request, and then he puts it in, So it's
that's so you actually get and he gets to build what he does. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, we'll make sure people kind of check out The Forge. I didn't realize you were doing that in partnership. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you've been doing the fractional thing, and like most of us, you're a marketing leader who's kind of, I can only speak for myself here, but you're just doing random marketing stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you kind of like stumble or you learn or you dive into this ChatGPT stuff. And boy, it seems like you've taken it to a next level. But walk us through that kind of origin story. Like, how did you discover this stuff? Was there one moment that the light bulb clicked, or how did you get going deeper into this AI talk track?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is back, like 2 years ago when it came out, but I was using it probably how most people were, like, give me 5 blog ideas, or write this LinkedIn post for me, which was fine. I mean, obviously, it still saves you a ton of time and gives you some good insight. But the real aha moment for me was I was actually up against a deadline. I was actually getting ready for a board meeting. And of course,
I love those.
Yeah, I know, right? Like nothing like the last second, requests and asks, and you're staying up late, and always a bit disruptive to your actual work that you're doing. But yeah, I had to put together a competitive analysis, and it just dawned on me, like, oh, maybe I should try ChatGPT for this. And again, like this is 2 years ago, back when it was still like not anything close to what it is today, but it still gave me like crazy results from it, like really good results. So it took me, just a few hours to put together what would have taken me, a few days.
Yeah.
And it gave me the information that I needed. And I mean, these days it really formats everything for you. You can create obviously like images, but like then it was like, okay, let me take from ChatGPT, reformat it, put it into slides, but it made the whole process so much easier. And then that's when I was like, okay, there's really a lot to this. Let me try to use it for all these other things. And, and now I'm to the point where anyone on my team, they've got to be using ChatGPT. Like I want them very fluent in just AI in general. So I'm always sharing prompts. I'm always sharing
best practices. How you do it. Look, that's how you and I got connected. And we'll see if we can make that happen. But yeah, he had this. I mean, that's pretty. That post is pretty. I like to think I have a couple LinkedIn posts that are disruptive, and I'm getting 5 to 10 comments. I mean, how much does your library post, which we'll be getting into in just a second, is it cross 5,000 comments? I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's 4.5 or something like that right now, which is wild.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I hit at 10, and I like went and bought myself an ice cream or something. But yeah, he's got this super viral post, you guys, and it was he's going to dive into it today, but it was a library of prompts and walking through kind of how he's taken ChatGPT from kind of that level 1 maturity to level 5. And I was hoping he'd share some secrets today. So Brandon, I want to dive into that. I think so many of us I'll raise my hand. We're still using ChatGPT for those surface level tests. I think where you were 2 years ago. Embarrassing. But it does. It feels like a Google search sometimes. That's just what we know. So we kind of took Google and threw it over here. And many of us have that very singular view where it's like, hey, I think I can just do blog posts and I feel pretty good because I'm like cheating by doing some different blog posts.
Yeah.
How do you start to take that deeper? How do you go from that basic understanding or surface level tasks to more advanced uses of kind of ChatGPT?
Yeah, great question. And a few things when I'm working with others that tell me like, well, I don't even know what you could do, or like, well, that really doesn't apply to my job, where I'm like, dude, that applies to everyone's job. Like if you're a knowledge worker today, if you even remotely touch tech, it's going to help you. And the part of it too, and you and I were chatting about this, but like part of the value of the thing that I'll show you in a minute here, this prompt library is just like getting ideas for things that you can use it for.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like, okay, I've got this blank canvas. It's too daunting. I don't know what to do with this blank canvas.
Yeah.
I can draw some stick figures and everything, but like,
or you get set in your ways. Like, again, I talk to so many people who are just like, I'll just do blogs or I'll just do social. And they just don't understand the breadth that it can go. But it isn't just that, right? I mean, within the breadth, there's also ChatGPT continues to add different abilities, which many of us also don't know.
Yeah. And like some of this cool stuff that actually didn't even make it into the live, or I shouldn't say didn't make it in, that have developed in the last month since that post. There's some cool things like, I can even dive into this, but setting up a reminder or a task that ChatGPT sends you all the update. Like one we were talking about, I have set up for competitive intelligence. Here are my top 3 competitors. Here are their websites. Now, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. in the morning, send me the price, any pricing updates, any news that they've been in, any key hires.
What are you even talking? Like, how is that possible? What? You got to dive into
it. You want to dive into it? We could dive into it right now.
Let's dive in, because I mean, I think people are thinking this is magic, what you're saying, because again, I think so many of us are in that basic, like a reminder of updated competitive material. That sounds crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe we'll dive into this and then we can kind of like zoom back out. So we'll tease people with this. Let me just share my screen.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So here we go.
I'm putting him on the spot here, you guys. I'm like, you
got
to just open up GPT and show us. It sounds like you're using a different GPT than me.
Okay, let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Let's see. Here we go. I'm adding it now.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. There you go. I'm seeing it. Okay.
So this is the chat that I said, and this is for one of my clients. Here are the top 3 competitors, and here's what I want you to send me for every competitor.
Okay.
And then it asks me a few questions.
Yeah.
And then that's the other thing that I always do too, is let's make sure you have all the information that you need. Ask me anything that you need, and then after I answer those questions, you see here it is. What time do you want it sent? Et cetera, et cetera. And then here it is right here. So here's the task. And then now I can say, instead of weekly, send it to me daily. I want it every day at 9 a.m. Or weekly. Instead of Tuesdays, I've got a board, or I've got, my executive team meeting on Monday, change it.
Whoa. Okay. Slow down. Us rookies, you're blowing my mind here. So pop out of this for just a second. Go back up to the prompt for just a minute. Let's walk through this just a little slower. So the very top prompt. So one of the challenges I think people, and I don't know if it's here, but this is more, I'm seeing so many people, Brandon, just be like, make this better, or give me competitive stuff. But what I'm seeing here is, I love that bottom part where you said, ask me the questions. Okay. That's a brand new concept for many of us, ending like, let's do that. But even at the beginning, can you walk through how you put a little more detail and structure here that I think many of us miss? Can you just kind of walk us through your framework here?
Yeah. Okay. Great point. And as people obviously know these days, like it's all about the prompt that you use. And this is kind of a little hack around it, is like you tell me the things that you need. So high level, this is what I need to do. these are all the things that I want in this specific task.
Okay.
And then here it's like, okay, great. I'm going to ask you. Oh, and by the way, here's a little cheat that I have for this. I use this so frequently that actually,
let me just read this out loud, because
go
ask
for
me
it.
as many questions as you need in order to get the full context and details to execute this task. Then after I've answered your questions, please give me the prompt. Wow, fascinating.
Yeah, and check this out. So I don't know if you know, what is it called with your Mac, but like I can type in something like this, and then it automatically. I use this so frequently that I have it as
it's a hotkey basically. You've like hotkeyed it in there. It's like,
yes, I type it so much that I mean, this is beyond ChatGPT, but that's like it's one of the cool things that it's just a shortcut that I use, and every time I type those.
Let's finish with that concept for this point. It's like, yeah, almost every prompt you use, for the audience, you're including this concept because you want it to be more thorough. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, cool. So then it asked you a series of questions. Let me just see those real quick. So it took your advice.
Yeah.
Okay, you said some of this stuff. Keep going. Did it actually ask you any missing questions, or did it seem like it got it? It looks like it seems like the output style. Here's some of my thoughts. Okay. Should I set up a recurring? So it asked you, should I set up a recurring task inside GPT that runs and emails you? And then go a little further here. And you did. You said yes. Okay. So what I want it to do is, and you gave it very specific instructions. How come you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I mean, is that any thoughts on that? I mean, couldn't you just say, is there a reason for that structure there? No,
not necessarily. This is just how I do it. So I've done it before where I click this button, dictate, and then I just say, okay, number 1, delivery times. Send it to me Tuesday morning. And then number 2, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just talking to it, and then it transcribes it.
I see.
And then I click this, and then it's got the transcription. It takes a few seconds, but it's pretty quick, and like as you can see, it's really just a transcription.
Really accurate. Okay,
kind of unstructured, but it still works.
It still kind of pulls it in. So how did it then actually go to the bottom now? So I think I'm getting your flow. And this outputs out perfect. Okay, so you then did this, and then what is this stuff here? What am I seeing here?
So now I can copy this, and that's the prompt that I use. That I can use for this, right?
So, it did. It gave you back the prompt that you could basically use. Okay.
So my plan was, okay, now I'm going to take this prompt and I'm going to go do it. But instead, it actually executed the prompt without me even saying, okay, now execute this prompt.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Right? Like I was going to take that.
But how did it come up with the timing? Like you showed just a minute ago, like you changed the time. Did it send week? Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So it actually added in, and now you can change that. Now in the prompt, I didn't see it. How is this going to be delivered to you? Is it email? Is that what you said? Is it an email in your inbox?
Yeah. So it's an email in my inbox, but all it is, it's from ChatGPT, and it links me back to this, and it runs the prompt, and it shows.
I wondered. Okay, I didn't. So it does bring you. So it's a reminder in your inbox, but it brings you back, and it kind of says, "Here's the week. Here's the new thing for the week," so to say.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can use this in a lot of different ways. Like a lot of people I know, that they're searching for jobs right now. So it's send me all of the jobs in Denver that are this title, and then you can refine it from there, because you can always go back. Again, you can go back into this.
Brandon, this is so much fun. I feel like I want to spend 2 hours doing this.
I know, right?
Like you've opened up, like by showing, this is your GPT that we're seeing, isn't it, right here? This is like your instance. This isn't like a beta instance or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is like looking into your home. I feel like this is personal. Thank you for taking us into your home. So I want to ask, and again, you can tell me, I'm just seeing some things on the side here, this bar, right, where a lot of us never go, and you have a lot of stuff going on here. I like to just pop in and just write stuff, but can you walk us through, without being too intrusive to your home, what is going on the left-hand side, and where should people be playing as they get into GPT?
Okay, great question. You know what? Let me actually pop over to so that's my Avara one that I have through one of my clients.
Okay,
so
cool.
My personal ChatGPT.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
I'll set up. So the two things that I think will really help take people's experience and the results to the next level. One is folders. Folders / projects. They call them projects or folders. They refer to both. But here, everything that I have, for example, I just launched a new podcast, and I'm putting all of my project files for this podcast in this folder so that every time I don't have to give it the context. It already has the context, and it can refer to other files. So the two things that you need to pay attention to are the project files. So this is where,
double. So yeah, these are GTM by the numbers. These are contextual databases that it's kind of learning off of for this idea of podcast that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And like, here's the overall, strategy for my podcast, so that when I say I need to create a document for distribution, it knows that my main distribution channels are going to be LinkedIn and email.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to ask me, okay, so what are the main distribution channels that you're going to be using for this? Like, this is something that everyone should have. Like, this is something that I use frequently too, where I've got a persona document. Let me just show it to you real quick.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is insane.
And by the way, I used ChatGPT to help me create this persona document. No surprise there, right? Here, it's called VP of Marketing Val, is just what I called her, this persona that I'm actually using for this specific one. So I've got two. But here's everything that Val knows, that Val cares about, that and again, Val represents
the ideal persona you're trying to work with in your business, right? Yeah,
exactly.
But you've put that in, so you had GPT help you create this, but you've ultimately loaded it into this podcast folder, so that as you work with this, it knows kind of how to address the right audience or the right tone, etc.
Exactly. And here I've got two, a CRO and a CMO, or VP of Marketing, that I put for my CRO and VP of Marketing. Mm-hmm. And then tone, style, like branding, all is in this document here.
Okay.
And then over here, the instructions, so you can give it a little bit more.
What's the simplest way to the difference between the project files and the instructions? They seem similar to me.
The way that I used this document, tone, I guess maybe it's tone mainly, but it's like, every time I want you to reply in this tone, or it could be every time you start a new chat, always open up a new canvas.
Okay.
Like, it can be that sort of thing.
I see. Like how it's actually utilized within your thread, basically. Open up a new canvas, or don't just run a longer thread. Okay. That makes more sense. Okay. So you do these folders. Back up just for a second. So what would be, I mean, I'm seeing GTM by the Numbers podcast, LinkedIn, like what back up, like what would I create as a marketer folders for in my world? Is it, if I'm a CMO,
good question,
would it be, social marketing, but these are not something others can see, right? These are just something for me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. At least as of right now, you can't share folders. You can share individual chats.
Yeah.
Right. But you can't share folders yet. It sounds like that's going to be coming soon. But yeah, it's anything where it's more of a bigger project where you're dealing with potentially multiple files.
And you do want that contextual. Does it actually, because your podcast is a good example. Like, this is an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Oftentimes GPT is like, hey, I just had one blog post, but the podcast is a good example because it's like, this is a 6-month project or an ongoing project. Does it remember does it hold the memory in there? So again, if you were typing it 3 months from now and you're like, do you remember that episode I did with Gabe Larson? He was so cool, and he was just this awesome dude. I want it to be a little like that or something. Would it be able to retrieve that in the folder structure and pull out?
That's exactly what the folders are for. Yep.
Cool. Okay. So you've got basic kind of threads that you pull, and then you have this cool kind of folder structure. anything else that you'd say just while we're in here? Anything else you'd be like, you need to make sure you kind of double click here, you guys, if you want to kind of move from beginner to advanced?
Yeah. So if any one-off task that you find yourself doing over and over and over again,
Yeah.
Like taking a blog post and writing an email from it, or taking a blog post and writing a LinkedIn post from it. One of those things where it doesn't rely on knowing information from other documents and other places. Create a custom GPT, because still every time that I'm writing for my audience, right, it would be like, okay, I want you to act as blah, blah, blah. Here is the persona document. Your output should be this. So like every time I write a blog post, I'm going to be typing these things. Well, instead of typing those things, let's actually just use a custom GPT. So like ghostwriting, I don't have to every single time say the audience that you're writing for is this, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think we really have time to dive into how to create these.
But at a high level, the difference between a custom GPT and a folder from a directional standpoint, what would you say to that?
Yeah, custom GPTs, one-off, like tasks that you're doing, repetitive tasks that you're doing over and over again.
Okay.
Right. So again, like writing a blog post, or like that sort of thing. Summarize a call for me, format it in this way. Like, here's the transcript of the call, summarize it in this way. And then the folders, again, like it's a bigger project. You have multiple outputs and you have multiple things that you can refer back to. And then if you just want just a pure chat, it's like
random.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, Google, it used to be, hey, Google, I want to know what the
10 times 10 or
whatever.
Earth flat, or is the Earth round? Whatever it is, some fact.
Yeah, exactly. So
interesting, man. That's so fun to kind of see somebody, use this. So I appreciate you letting us kind of just dive in and get kind of a full view of some of the things you do. So, okay, so you have the basic GPTs, you have some of these folder structures, you go into these custom GPTs, and then I'd like to now back out for a minute. Because what you did then is, having experienced this so much, you then kind of introduced this concept of the library, right?
Yes. Okay, so I put together all of the prompts that I've been using over the last few years into.
And like, how long did this take to put together? Because this looks like I'm looking at this and I'm like, Brandon's kind of a nerd. He puts together.
I nerd out about this stuff. Well, it might not be a surprise to you, but I actually asked ChatGPT, take all of the prompts that I've ever written.
Wait, you cheated? You cheated for this?
I totally cheated. I told ChatGPT, take all of the prompts that I've ever written, and I want to create a library.
That's awesome. Honestly, I did. I mean, as you say it, I'm laughing because that's obviously what you did. And
I know, right?
You spent 7,000 hours putting this together, one letter at a time. That's awesome. Anyways, so it obviously helped. So you eat your own dog food. No surprise there, but it did organize it and structure it. Like, walk us through how somebody. I've passed this to probably at least a half dozen people, maybe a dozen, but how do you use this, or walk us through it in a little more detail?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is a Notion doc. I don't know. I set it up so it's pretty easy for people to use, but mainly you're going to be filtering based off of those two things. So I just created some pre-done filters for you. So if you want to look at all things product marketing, just click that drop down and select product marketing. Or it's stage of funnel, awareness stage. Gives you all of the things on the awareness stage. Or it's, I really want to do deep research.
Oh man, hold on. This is, I got to stop you with the model thing for a minute, because I get so confused, Brandon. We're like, not only the model, but then you start saying words like Claude and Gemini and stuff like that. But what maybe this isn't the time to jump in, but while you showed it, I thought I'd bug you on it. What is the difference between the models? It looks like you can choose in your concept here. Are certain models better for different things? Or how would you advise people to just go one level deeper there?
Yeah, for sure. So honestly, these days, I actually wrote a tiny little cheat sheet for people on this. Which is, I put it in the forge, and anyone can do this. You don't have to be a payment to see this, but and we can send this out and put it in the chat. But in general, see, this is right when 03 came out, so I didn't even put 03 in here, right?
Interesting.
So I'm gonna go update that right now. But most of the time these days, like 03 is for just more advanced reasoning. And then, of course, I'm sure you saw last week they came out with 03 Pro.
I heard. That's right.
Yeah, so I've been playing around with that a little bit more, and that's for even deeper reasoning and more complex logic. But for most advanced tasks these days, I'm really mostly toggling between 04, 40,
yep,
03, and 03 Pro.
Okay.
And then if I'm hooking up to something like Clay and I want to run ChatGPT within Clay, there's actually a 4.1 and 4.1 Nano, which gives you great results at just a fraction of the cost. So there's actually even more that's not even on here. That's probably too far in the weeds with that. Most people aren't even going to.
No, I appreciate. Look, I think that's great for people to kind of understand. I think even just that quick overview is helpful. What would you say to the different kind of LLM models? Again, I had someone the other day say, Gabe, my company just gave me, put us on Gmail, and I got access to Gemini, but I had a pro license. I mean, what do I do here? Any thoughts on Claude or Gemini or using 3 different types of LLMs, not just the models within them?
Yeah, I mean, my general advice for people is I don't really care what you use. Just go start using one of them. And then, in the beginning, you're not going to notice the difference between the output for Claude versus Gemini versus what do you call it, ChatGPT or any of the, Copilot, whatever you want to use. But as you really get more into it, people will tell you, and this is true, that Claude is better for writing tasks, right? And of course, all this changes too. So like in a month from now, it could be like, what? Grok is the best one for writing now.
Right.
It's like, okay, I got to go over to Grok. But I do think it still comes down to, you can still get phenomenal results just by giving it the right context. And asking it for the right thing. So, maybe you don't get all the way to the output of a Claude for writing, but you can get like 95% of the way there just by making sure you have the right inputs and asking it for the right things.
Okay. That's
but
good.
Like I mean, at high level, it's just like start playing with one and get really good at playing with one. I don't think there's a need to know how to use all the different ones, especially if you're just getting started.
You're just getting going. Okay, that's helpful. So I interrupted. Finish real quick the overview on the library. So you were just taking the tab structure, and I rudely interrupted. But
okay. So
categories, okay, yep.
Yeah, so maybe we'll just dive into I mean, I'm a product marketing guy at heart, but so it's just competitive weakness. I come back to this one all the time, but once you you just click this little open tab thing here, and then that's where you can actually see the prompt itself. Click this little guy here, and then all of them, you are going to have to customize it for yourself a little bit, right? So put your top 3 competitor names in here.
See. Yeah.
And then here's some tips at the bottom.
Awesome, man.
And
as you said, I think what this does is, my favorite thing about this is it just has opened up my eyes, Brandon, to some of those other use cases. And I think that's one of the ways you start getting more advanced with GPT is, and we mentioned this to start, is competitive product marketing, demand marketing, social, and you see some of these different things and it starts to spark ideas. And all of a sudden, again, you're just using more and more of this tool to kind of help you across the business. So, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So people just go into this, read all of the different potential things and get some ideas and say, okay, great. How can I use this?
Yeah.
Or, maybe there's a different flavor and I can apply this slightly differently, but here's the idea. I'm going to take the prompt itself and then I'm going to rework it a little bit to really fit my need and fit the outcome that I'm looking for.
I love it. Okay. Well, Brandon, this has been fascinating. Just as we wrap here, and I know those were we're only scratching the surface. We'll
Yeah.
dive a little deeper with Brandon at some point, but it's been super insightful. As we wrap here, I just wanted to kind of, maybe you could leave the audience with getting going. You know, so many people on different parts of the journey, and a lot of people are just in that basic stage. Any quick advice or leave behinds for people who are wanting to dive into this, or how they should kind of get going or get started?
Yeah, just I think the main thing is getting people to break the habit of always doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I was there too, and now my habit is just ChatGPT for almost anything and everything. You know,
You won't speak to your wife without talking to ChatGPT, right?
yeah, right, exactly, right. So I think it's really just mainly breaking that habit, and do things like grab a sticky note and throw a sticky note on your computer screen that says ChatGPT first, or make ChatGPT, use the plugin for ChatGPT. So any search that you do automatically defaults to ChatGPT instead of Google. Like just certain things like that. Or, I mean, set up a reminder in ChatGPT itself every morning. Send me a new interesting prompt for how I can use ChatGPT as a marketer, as a demand gen, specialist, or whatever your role is. Just something simple like that.
I love it. I love it. Look, I think it is. It's about just getting in and getting your hands dirty. And kudos to OpenAI, because I mean, they've made it so that it even, non-technical people like myself, I mean, you can definitely get in and get your hands dirty without thousands of. Brandon and I were debating about other tools, and there are some tools that are maybe a little more complicated. This is a great tool to obviously you get your hands dirty. I think you can really learn quickly.
So. Yeah, I mean, it's especially like if you're like, I'm sure you even saw that they announced integrations, and you can integrate with HubSpot now. And now what I'm doing, and now I can look at what are the things that really helped convert at the deal to move from a stage 1 to a stage 2 within, and I mean, that takes a little bit of like RevOps knowledge. You have to like learn, like as of right now, I'm sure it'll be in a month from now, it won't matter, but like you have to learn, you have to know the structure of HubSpot. Because you have to be able to say like all contacts where the contact is associated with a deal is in stage, so you can know the language a little bit. But like I'm sure, again, in a month, even in a month from now, you're not even going to have to worry about the model. So with 05, it'll decide the model for you, right? So anyway.
Fascinating.
I could geek out about this.
I know, and unfortunately, we'll have to shut it down. I have about 5 more questions, but we'll have to grab you next time. Really appreciate you taking the time, Brandon. Very interesting to dive into moving from beginning to kind of advanced using some of these AI tools for marketing. So thanks again for joining, and for everybody else, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. Bye.